Greetings, fellow Italian Stallions. Dragon, I should have rehearsed this with you pre-show. Italian Stallions, right? Italian Stallions?
Italian Stallion.
Italian Stallions.
Or if you say it like Apollo Creed, then Italian Stallion, but that's probably not really correct.
Italian Stallion. Italian Stallions.
There you go.
All right, yay! I learned grammar. Tiki here.
I'm BlueDragonFive.
And welcome to Main Street Cinema, the show where we discuss the finer points of filmmaking. And Dragon, what we have for you folks tonight is the Rocky Cast here on the So You Want to Be an Imagineer channel. Now, Dragon, of course, Main Street Cinema, we celebrate the finer points in filmmaking. We've talked about Spielberg, we talked about recent movies, all sorts of good stuff, but I would say perhaps one of the all-time great movies that we haven't gotten around to talking about yet on the channel that you and I both really like, really appreciate, really love, but we don't even really bring it up that much in the context of the conversations we have, which are usually more Disney or superhero related, is Rocky. The Rocky franchise is great, you know, just in general, kind of going into our overall thoughts about it. But, you know, one of the important things, two of the important things why we're here, Dragon, we're going to technically count this as our Thanksgiving podcast for the year, even though I think that's a bit of a reach.
Well, Paulie's got the turkey. And
yeah,
Paulie's got the turkey. That motivates things, and we gotta talk about Thanksgiving, so let's do it.
But Dragon, what magical thing did we stumble across that we didn't even realize when pitching the whole Thanksgiving, Paulie, turkey?
So should I tell the folks at Stallone? Should I tell them just what happened?
I'll let that be your judgment call, friend.
All right. No, I was playing it. Anyway, folks, here's a just a funny coincidence you wouldn't believe it if I told you. I'm going to tell you anyway. Is that we were thinking of what to talk about for Thanksgiving. Want to pick some kind of themed, something takes place either around Thanksgiving or has Thanksgiving in it. We kind of had some picks around. There's some more conventional ideas, and we're kind of going back and forth, and we kind of just randomly brought up one day. So I swear to you, nothing promoted this or anything. I was just thinking, how about Rocky? and because of the Paulie, because of Paulie's the turkey out, it's going to motivate things. Yeah, it's very important because Rocky goes over 3 holidays. It's Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the fights on New Year's. It's kind of boxing takes months to get ready for it. Time passes.
That's what I call the 3-act structure right there.
Certainly, and it just kind of occurred to me, let's do that. Then yesterday, a few days ago, it was I guess 3 days ago. The 21st rolled by, and I kind of was looking at articles or something. And I realized, oh wow, it's the 40th anniversary of the original Rocky film. What a coinky dink!
So yeah, I mean, this is kind of technically going to be the Thanksgiving podcast, but it's also more importantly going to be
happy 40 years, Rock.
Yeah, and Dragon, I think more importantly, I think this conversation in particular is going to be a deep dive. We're going to touch on other aspects of the Rocky franchise here and there, but more importantly, it's going to be a deep dive into the original film. Dragon, my thesis statement on the original film is it is not a sports movie. It is a character piece. It is a character study, and that's why I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I just think the Rocky franchise for so many people has just been boiled down. And keep in mind, I feel like Rocky is definitely in the Indiana Jones or Star Wars route where it's so iconic that people know about it and it's in the popular culture, even if you haven't seen the movie. So, just the image of Sylvester Stallone, like what you're looking at right there with him on the steps and everything, that's ingrained in people's minds. But
I like to read.
But I mean, what I really think that people kind of overlook is that first movie. I mean, I don't think they really overlook it because the first movie is beloved, but I just think we're here to talk about and celebrate, Dragon. Not just Rocky is a great sports movie, which it is, but Rocky is a great character study. The first Rocky in particular, I think, works so well as a character piece, and that's really what I want to kind of lay my thesis on here tonight.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right about that, Tegan. I mean, what I was saying with all like to read things again. There's those library steps. I mean, that's a huge thing, right? It's a huge thing. Even if you don't know, people you always see people taking pictures of themselves, always kind of walking up the stairs and just kind of doing the Rocky.
It's like Indiana Jones and the Boulder. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's such an iconic set piece. One of the most famous montages in cinema.
Oh, absolutely. I think it sets the gold, like the diamond standard for montages.
Certainly. Anyway, so yeah, overall, Rocky is probably the definitive underdog story, both in and outside the film itself. And that was it's an underdog story in making the film, but also, again, because this film rose to great heights after it came out, of course, because it won 3 Oscars.
Sure. Including Best Picture.
Yes. And again, very much like an underdog kind of, basically this thing had even, maybe even less than that. I mean, no comparatively less, but I'm saying I think probably even less than what Deadpool had to work with now. It was like basically they kind of had to really fight for it, and they really it was made for a very low budget. Basically, it was made for $1 million, a little less than $1 million, but approximately $1 million, and it grossed like 225 million. And that's the last I checked somewhere. I think that's what it said. Points like 100 millions. Yeah, 100 millions versus like $1 million to make it. Again, that's pretty well. It's pretty well. But this film it's everything you want in an Oscar winner. It absolutely is. It's everything you want, and that it's like not, it's very natural in that way. But okay, you have a film that's it's telling a very character driven story, and that you root for your guy, and again you're with him as he's going up against these kind of almost insurmountable odds of like you're laid out as like, okay, this guy should not have a chance in the world, but as the film goes on, oh my god, he might have a shot at it. And again, this film wrote the book on how to do a boxing movie, and that, as you said, it's all about character. You're not lost in the sport. The sport's there. Don't get me wrong. It's providing plot points. Like, okay, well, he's got to train. He's got to find a trainer. He's going to do some publicity stuff. Again, it's things that logically, okay, well, if he's getting ready for a fight, it's what he's got to do. But again, it's not about you're with the guy first and foremost. Again, the movie starts in a boxing ring, with the whole after we see kind of the Jesus allegory, which it's kind of there. The first shot of the film's the picture of Jesus, 1975. They're filming it the year before, and we go through kind of the year of the boxing of the fight. Again, we start in kind of a boxing ring, like him kind of have like a fight to pay the bills, so to speak. He's just kind of doing a kind of a bum fight, as it's going to be referred to by Mickey later on. You're a bum rock. He's just always kind of putting them down. Pretty much like he's fighting, but his heart's not in it. Like later on, again, thankfully through aging, his heart's really going to be in it. But again, all of that stemming from Rocky's character and kind of an evolution of his character through the course of the film. You care about him, and you like Rocky right from the beginning because he's human and he's vulnerable, yet he carries such great strength. And the film quite literally, it's called Rocky not just because hey, we got to have the main guy's name in it, but no, it's because it's all on him. It's all. He's carrying the piece. You're caring about this one guy. It's all about Rocky himself.
Mm-hmm. Dragon, one point to hit on before we get into the overall backstory of this. You mentioned the movie starts with a fight and it ends with a fight, and everything else in between is character study. I think that blew me away when I first saw this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I love this movie so much. Anyway, so Dragon, I believe let's get into the backstory then. Take it away.
Of course, very fascinating backstory. Again, pretty much you have like another Rocky movie inside of a Rocky movie in a way. It's 1975, which coincidentally the film takes place during. It's 1975. Stallone, pretty much he's living Rocky's life. I'm not exaggerating with that. The only difference is that Stallone grew up in Hell's Kitchen, where Rocky is set in Philadelphia. It's the only difference, really. Is that, really, except for the fact I think it was basically a little bit of Rocky and Rocky 2 amongst the making of Rocky 1. But let's not get into semantics. The point is, Stallone's living Rocky's life. He grew up in Hell's Kitchen. He moved to L.A. And again, he's getting a few roles here and there. But again, it's not really picking up. He's down on his luck, and that he really has like $106 in the bank. Essentially, he had to sell his dog. He's really financially he's doing terrible. He writes, but at the same time, Stallone he's a very talented writer on the side. He's writing some scripts. And eventually he writes the Rocky script, and he shows it to United Artists. It's Chaplin's company. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Shows it to United, shows it to United Artists. They love the script, and they think, okay, it's a guy bringing us a script. They look at some other stuff he has. Well, he says, well, I got an idea. I'm going to work basically in 3 days or so. Stallone wrote a script. He brought Rocky into him. And says, oh man, this is amazing. Everyone loved the script. Everyone who auditioned for it, even the people who didn't get, said, oh my god, I love reading that script though. But Stallone made it very clear right from the get-go that okay, well, you guys can. have the script. I'll sell you the script, but I have to play Rocky. Which again, bear in mind, beginning of this film, okay, we love the script, which they can think of. It's a star vehicle script. Basically you have a single title character. It all hinges on whoever you get to play Rocky, which means, okay, well, if this newcomer has been like kind of a bit parts in a few other films, really, again, I don't know, he might have like 2 or 3 films under his belt at this point. Again, like really bit parts. Stallone wasn't a name at this point, so no one in their sane mind would put Stallone in the limelight for this. But the producer is Erwin Winkler and Robert Chardoff. They gave Stallone a shot. They stuck their necks out for him throughout the whole thing. Pretty much, Stallone, they reached an arrangement. Stallone wouldn't get paid for the script, which would have been big money. He wouldn't get paid for the script, but he would get paid a low salary for being Rocky. But again, mostly like I think he said at the time might have been like $300. I'm not quite certain. He might have been joking. I don't know. Regardless, point is, he takes a low sum. He doesn't charge him for the script, and he's allowed to be the writer and the star of the film. The crux to where the film came from, it's influenced mainly by kind of Rocky Marciano, the fighters of the time. Rocky Marciano, Joe Frazier, who makes an appearance in the film, and it's awesome. And importantly, the Muhammad Ali Chuck Wepner fight. And the Chuck Wepner fight, essentially, he went the distance with Ali through the whole thing. That he lasted all the way to the end. Basically, the ending of the film was kind of the crux of the whole thing, coming from that fight. So a lot of it was kind of influence here and there from just the boxing greats of the time. Let's see. So there's a lot of scrutiny on Stallone because again, it was all hinging on him. Basically, if he made one mistake, they would have either have an option like scrap the film, or you don't know what's going to happen. That either scrap the film or they get a new guy to play Rocky, just reshoot some stuff. Which point is, a lot of things could have gone wrong on this, which led to a lower budget and a lot of pressure on Stallone. Again, one screw up, he's out of there. However, the one freeing thing they had was they were free to cast anyone they wanted because of such kind of a low priority in a way, because of the very low budget they were given. And it's real funny, I don't know if you know this or not. The reason Rocky got greenlit was that Stallone gave him Lords. Basically, they were screening Stallone, see if some other higher ups would greenlight him. Say, okay, they sign off on him. They showed him Lords of Flatbush, which is a film with him and Henry Winkler and some Perry King. They're watching, and basically they're a bunch of greasers, pretty much. It's like a bunch of Fonzie knockoffs, pretty much. It's the gag. That's the gag.
Right.
I think may or may not have been pre-Happy Days. I'm not sure. Regardless, they're watching the executives think. So this Italians, they've read the script. This Italian Stallion guy. So who is it? They don't know which one's Stallone because they're looking for the movie star. I think it's Perry King, the blonde guy. And they think, well, you don't really see any blonde hair, blue-eyed Italians. Someone just you get the executives rationalizing. He says, well, I've heard in Northern Italy they have that. So yeah, sure, that's the guy. So they basically greenlit it based on a different actor. They had no idea. So basically, it was a complete accident that they kind of signed off on Stallone, but it was a good move.
That's great.
They get John Havilton to direct, and basically what won him over was the Turtles thing, the whole cuff. Here's Cuff, and here's Link. That really, initially...
One of the things that really wins me over to Rocky as well.
Basically, the beginning was what absolutely sold Havilton, because he was thinking, okay, it's going to be a boxing movie. Why am I interested? The first scene, he's boxing in an arena. Was the interest there? But then right after that's when we get him, walking around Philadelphia. That's when he's Cuff and Link. And that's when there's a humanity to this guy. I love this guy. And he signed on for it. Importantly, a few quick, two things left here is that the Steadicam was invented for this film, which is very important in cinema.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's how we get the stair shot. That's how we get kind of weaving in throughout the beef in the warehouse, through the punching the beef. Stallone, he gets into it with the stunt coordinator. Basically, kind of a low point of the production was, not a low point, just kind of a big kind of defining point of the production was Stallone was kind of coming up with the boxing choreography, which is huge in the last fight. Because again, like you said, Tiki, it's really two fights. The beginning fight, which is showing you Rocky really kind of a bum fight, and then at the end, and then the ending, you have an actual kind of big old boxing fight. That again, years later, we're gonna have other people taking a stab, the big fight with films like Raging Bull and so on and so on. Cinderella night. But yeah, Stallone's just trying to make the fights as interesting as possible. And basically, eventually, he writes the fights. He does the fight choreography on himself. But the reason for this, because he really got into it, he was challenged by the fight choreographer. Basically, got into it, and the guy just quit. Just because, well, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm done. I quit. And then, of course, one mistake, one slip up, Stallone's at it. So you imagine the pressure he felt.
Yeah.
In the moment. So then basically John Havison said, okay, listen, why don't you write out the steps exactly like you want, like you envision it? And they did, and that's why the fight looks amazing at the end. End result, huge success against Stallone. He makes that boxing look really realistic. We have all the character stuff. In the end, it's a huge success. Gets a few Oscars. And gets a bunch of sequels, some spin-offs, and the rest is history, and it's 40 years. That's pretty much the history of Rocky.
Okay, I have a plot summary written up for this, if you don't mind me taking the reins on it.
All right, if you can handle it.
I think I can handle it. So, folks, here's the rundown on Rocky. To celebrate the country's bicentennial, heavyweight boxing champion Apollo Creed challenges the rough and tough up-and-comer Rocky Balboa, a.k.a. the Italian Stallion, to the ultimate underdog grudge match. Balboa, through the strength of his blooming love of new girlfriend Adrian and the unlikely encouragement of the solely retired boxing trainer Mickey, managed to go the distance in a tortoise-in-the-hair boxing match, which has become the most inspiring sports story in cinematic history. Boom, nailed it.
Okay.
All right. So what's next, Dragon?
Let's see. So, again, it's a very simple plot, but it's a very simple plot dense with characters. So speaking of that, let's jump into the characters.
Okay, so let's talk about the Italian Stallion himself. And Dragon, I am holding off on doing a Stallone impression. The whole podcast are going to be very proud of me. I'm on my best behavior.
Well, I've done my Stallone impression. Apparently, that's taking the brunt of it.
I guess so, but like I said, you know that if I did it, I'd just butcher it. So Rocky, what can we say about Rocky? He's a very layered, it's weird to say, Dragon. He's a simplistic guy, but he's kind of complex in his simplicities. You know what I mean? It's like the simplicity of his life is really what's got him down. It's like he doesn't want to be in this life he has anymore.
Yes, he's very endearing and relatable because we've all felt like Rocky at one point or another. I think our best selves would be Rocky in a way that you're just very emotionally honest with yourself. It's very again, Rocky's. He's darn it goes through an arc throughout this film, with even at his kind of technically his lowest point in the beginning, because he builds himself up throughout the whole film. Is that even at his kind of his technical worst, he's a really nice, pleasant guy. He's not a bad guy by any stretch. He happens to be a leg breaker, but it pays the bills. It's what he's a washed out fighter, and that's really he's just using his fighting strength just to kind of pay the bills with a loan shark. And again, I love one of my favorite things. We're not going to spend a lot of time on him in terms of characters, but I do like Tony the loan shark. I really do like Tony. How you have the idea that there's Tony the loan shark, and there's his other muscle that gets jealous of Rocky, and it's basically the one guy insults Adrian all the time, and Tony gives Rocky money for the date. He's a really nice guy.
I love Tony and his pleasantries, absolutely. The the $500. Have a good time, Rocky. Have a good time.
That's what I'm saying. It's
it's on me. Don't worry about it.
It's like the film, and especially through Rocky, what we do see is they're fleshing out the kind of the Philadelphian world in this film. These people, they are there's pleasantries, but it's not uber refined or anything, but it's like a real kind of homespun, really kind of. Again, it's not Hell's Kitchen, but it's kind of play like real Americana. This is how it would really go in the real. It's real, just kind of casual pleasantries.
Casual pleasantries mixed with a layer of grittiness that just simply isn't in filmmaking anymore. I don't think, at least not to this extent.
Yeah,
that's what I love about the movie. That it mixes these really nice people, these really genuinely good-hearted people living in this rough environment. Living in this ghetto-like setting. And Dragon, I think this might be one of the single best world-building movies in terms of showcasing a single city and celebrating a single city.
Right, yeah, and the neighborhood that they shoot in real life, I don't know if I don't know if there's like, I assume it's like what it is in real life because the film is really accurate with how they do this stuff, but it's called Fishtown.
Fish sound. Nice, nice.
I'm pretty sure, like I think, I know we see it in one of the other Rocky movies. I was trying to think if it's in this one. I assume so. Like when he's running through the thing, like people are selling fish on the sides in the early morning. So I think that's why they call it Fishtown. That's a guess.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, it just feels really kind of really homespun. This really like again like when Rocky's running in the early morning, it just feels very just again it just feels very like you've seen neighborhoods like this.
Of course, yeah.
Like all the Stallone was brilliant in that. What he did here is that, like, if you ever listen to any commentaries or interviews of him talking about Rocky, literally every element he's put thought into. Tiki, he really has, like the wardrobe, everything. Because you got to remember, the budget was so low on this film that every outfit that Rocky's wearing, that's outfits. He owns those outfits. That's just what he wore at the time. The only difference is he bought a hat. He bought that little hat that he wears, and again, it's like all little kind of character touches, like him throwing the ball up in the air and like kind of bouncing on the ground there. I guess that apartment, he's got a bayonet and a machete somewhere in there. It's kind of a somewhat dangerous, somewhat kind of eclectic
Right, right.
apartment. There's so much like you don't want to sit on that couch. That couch is filthy and had like beer bottles on you. Again, it's like
Come on, Adrian, why don't you sit down? Why don't you just make yourself comfortable?
it's like you have so many little touches that flesh out Rocky's world, but also flesh him out as a character. He's got a very strong arc. Again from the beginning, like I said, he's not bad, but he's complacent and without ambition. That's his problem at the beginning of the film. He's complacent and without ambition. He's a boxer. Probably again we don't see this, but it's easy to infer that okay. Like any boxer you imagine, he'd be like a rookie. Like, okay, I'm going to be the best boxer in the world. Hooray! And again, as time goes on, kind of spirit gets worn down. We don't see it. It's kind of an unofficial prologue, if you will. And then over time, just kind of becomes he's like a club fighter. He's like in like kind of like the beginning of Cinderella Man. He's like in kind of like clubs getting paid just to kind of fight a guy. Again, that's the bum fight I'm referring to. Bum rock, that sort of thing. And again, so he's just doing it again just to pay the bills and just get somewhat of it's the closest thing he can get to being a boxer in the big time in a hometown. It's just it's the closest he can get. It's just it's not ambitious. And he goes from that, goes from kind of your average Joe to somebody just kind of average Joe. He's kind of happy with the complacent life. He feels he'd be getting more out of it to an extent. He's not depressed, you know what I mean? He's content, but he does feel like he's lacking something.
Right.
It's like he's not embittered. Like I love that at no point in this film is Rocky ever unlikable or vengeful or hate filled. He's always pleasant through the whole
At
thing.
the very worst, he's like frustrated with his situation and kind of venting about it.
Yeah, again, by the end, he's like someone people root for and look up to. Again, that's fact we saw. It was a great bit in the film. Like, remember the girl who's like on the street corner with kind of like the wrong crowd, and he kind of takes her aside. He gives like again, just, like these are moments that we see even like Rocky.
I really no the moment you just mentioned is probably like a runner up for one of my favorite moments that didn't quite make the cut. I love the heart to heart he has with the street kid. It's a great way to just showcase like how caring he is and how much he wants to see his community develop into something better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I love that. I love it that it's like these are moments like in there throughout the whole Rocky franchise, especially like Rocky Balboa, just those little heart-to-heart moments, just showing like he is a pillar of the community in a way. And this is looking at the first film. It's been a while since I've seen the first film. Because I probably watched it before Creed. I think I can't. It's been on TV now. I can't remember.
Before Creed was when I last watched it as well. So it's been a while for me. So I just refreshed tonight. Yeah.
But folks, like one of those films, it's on like the back of your hand. The original if you don't know.
Sure.
But anyway, regardless, it's like the little heart-to-heart moments is that you look at it, and it's the beginning. He walks her and he gives her the pep talk, and looking at the very beginning here, it's like, no, it doesn't go well. Screw off, creepo. Again, it's like, and then Rocky doesn't like get upset about anything. He's just like, oh well, he walks off, and by the
Rocky for effort.
And that's the thing. Later on, now people are looking to him like they're all rooting for him. The guys tossing him an orange, which was actual real, by the way. So there's someone tossed Sylvester Stallone an orange while I was running during that sequence. It wasn't scripted or anything. Just people liked them. Yeah, and again, I think it just I think Rocky embodies kind of the redemptive character in a way. Just embodies kind of the character who's like kind of the reborn, a guy who's reinventing himself in a way.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, he's certainly not unlikable. Absolutely not. He's a very likable figure. But like you said, Dragon, at the beginning of the film, he does have a very unlikable job. You know, like he's basically someone who
He's a leg
break.
breaker. He's
Yeah,
muscle.
yeah.
That's the thing, and I like that. Again, even in that capacity, he's a guy who doesn't like get any joy from it. Again, it's paying the bills. He tries to do everything in a non-violent way, but we get to see an occasion of like you get a sense they probably uh, more often than not he'll go for the unviolent approach and just get yelled at by the boss now and again. You know.
Right, right.
And here's what I really like about it, right? This is kind of rewatching it, just kind of for the purposes of our discussion. I just kind of noticed this is that he's very much in a way he's very much kind of like Captain America in a way. He's absolutely himself by the end of the film. That's the thing. It's Steve Rogers again is the whole stay good, remain who you are. And by the end, he's doing wrong. He's stronger. He's more the super soldier serum. But again, he's distinctly Steve Rogers. You look at bear in mind, of course, Rocky came way before Captain America, the film Captain America, the MCU version. But again, I love that it's kind of a similar thing. Rocky doesn't change who he is, but he has a greater strength, and he's an icon to many, much like Captain America is. Steve Rogers, he becomes kind of this idea bigger than himself, and he's an icon to many.
I absolutely think Rocky Balboa is in that same spectrum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not sounding crazy with that, right? You see a little bit of yeah.
But I would argue that Rocky Balboa is probably an even bigger pop culture figure than Captain America is.
And again, there's that hilarious thing of them. I get to rewatching this kind of occurred to me. I don't know why I never put together. So, in Winter Soldier, again, when Steve Rogers is looking at his little book of people recommending stuff to him, there's Rocky and an asterisk Rocky 2 ? And with that, think about it, it's like saying Captain America absolutely would love the Rocky films. Of course he would. It's his story.
Well, I could just see Captain America like watching a Rocky marathon on TNT all day and just loving life.
That's what I'm saying. Think of it. And that's why I'm bringing up Captain America. Because Captain America is so, in many ways, it's kind of a similar story. And again, it's such a similar story. I think Steve Rogers would get an absolute kick out of watching that. Anyway. There is truth in this art. I see truth in this art. I'm appeased by this. I understood that reference.
Oh God. So I think we hit on pretty much all the major points on Rocky.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to
Adrian. Yo, Adrian.
Yo, Adrian.
All right. Adrian is definitely the heart and soul of the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I love Talia Shire is awesome. I just want to say that Talia Shire is awesome, and she's great in this film.
And she goes through her own transformation that I think is equally as powerful as Rocky's, in my opinion.
I would agree with that. Yes. Basically, she plays a shy character, and I love the also kind of the wardrobe kind of. It's like a physical transformation, but it's like she kind of. The way she dresses really, I like how it's kind of she's hidden in the beginning. She has the glasses. She's got kind of like the scarf. She got the scarf, the jacket, and like the cap. The wool knit hat thing. And again, like as the movie goes on, she unveils herself like a flower almost. She's a little more out there, a little more less shy with Rocky. And here's the thing: I love the parallels between him and Adrian's. Why the two of them absolutely, they need to meet each other. Why these two are made for each other. And I love that at the core of Rocky, it's a love story. It's great about that. It's that she's a shy girl who likes Rocky. You see that from the very beginning, and it's very shy going about it. Rocky's in there, he's going to the pet store like he always does. He kind of makes eyes with the girl. She shies away from him. You get a sense she really likes this guy. She can't express that.
She basically thinks that Rocky is just being nice to her to humor her, and she doesn't really have any shot with him in the early scenes. I think at least that's how I read it.
Yeah, it's kind of like she likes him, but she can't really express it, and because of that, she's just kind of not really pursuing those feelings at first.
Sure.
And again, I love that she is basically the reason I think she's such a strong character, Tiki, and just in comparison to Rocky, is that she is basically Rocky but internalized. She's goes through everything Rocky does, but it's she has where Rocky kind of goes through her physical strength. She has a greater inner strength in a way. She takes the abuse, much like Rocky. Again, by the end, especially Rocky physically takes the abuse of Apollo Creed, and again, that's also like a famous boxing thing too. Like it's as Rocky puts in eloquent words in Rocky Balboa, ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep getting hit. Seriously, it's like in a boxing thing. The mark of a terrifying opponent is someone who can take the punishment and still get back up, and which Rocky does, which is why he's such a formidable guy. The guy just won't go down. And Adrian emotionally is that. She takes the abuse from Paulie, just kind of takes that abuse from a lot of people, and people she hasn't met, by that one guy calling her mentally challenged, which actually, again, that one.
I wanted to punch that guy in the face.
Rocky almost did. There was actually a deleted thing. They were going to shoot it. I don't know if they shot it or not. But there's going to be a scene where, like Tony said to it, Rocky, "Look, why don't you? I'm tired of you two bickering. Why don't you just settle it now?" They get into the car. So just saying, here's what happens: Tony's driving the car, while the two of them are fighting in the back. That's just ridiculous.
Oh,
and anyway.
That sounds like a Rocky parody on SNL.
But seriously, it's kind of like a weird '70s thing that people fictionally do sometimes. I've seen it before. People fighting while the guy's driving. That's ridiculous. Anyway, no. But seriously, you see what I'm going for? There's like again, it's like she takes the abuse much like Rocky can kind of take it physically, and that's why she's as strong a character as Rocky in many capacities.
Yeah, and just seeing her come out of her shell and just definitely, you're right, it's a physical transformation and emotional transformation at the same time. I would say just because I've never been an athletic guy myself, Rocky's a very likable dude, but I think Adrian is more relatable to me personally.
I think in this life we'd all be lucky as can be to win a heart like a girl like Adrian's.
Dragon, I want to kind of end the conversation on Adrian on a somber note.
Well, I wanted to say something before we end it on a somber note.
Go ahead, say something.
Of course, the whole the fill gaps thing. Well, we fill gaps. It's a wonderful scene, by the way. Just the whole what do you like about my sisters? Is I don't know. It's gaps. We fill gaps. And then what is so lovely about that statement is the fact that together, the two of them, the whole gaps thing, what that communicates to is that together they bring out each other's full potential, which is why the two of them evolve to the place they do. Because again, Rocky, their relationship is kind of the result of the budding Adrian. That's why she kind of comes out of her shell a little bit more. That's why she's with Rocky. And on the other side of that, through the film, again, Rocky in the beginning, he's quite complacent, just where he is. Meeting Adrian essentially gives Rocky kind of the reason to try to win. That's why Rocky kind of finds a reason, because he thinks throughout the film, it's like it's assumed that Rocky's going to get pulverized. He's going to get, he's going to get killed in the ring. He's just basically he's a glorified sparring partner.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Adrian, by the end, Rocky's trying to win in the ring because Adrian inspires him. They motivate each other's better self.
Yeah, for sure.
Somber.
Okay, I know we don't want to get into too much of the franchise beyond the first movie, but Dragon, I would be remiss if we didn't bring up. Oh God, it's so sad.
The chair.
The chair. We have to talk about the chair.
The chair is one of the most beautiful moments in the whole Rocky franchise. It really
You knew
is.
exactly what I was going to bring up.
I know the chair. Come on, take the chair. After all the Winter Soldier ranting and raving I've done, you think I don't love the chair?
Yeah. Okay. So just the idea that Rocky has a chair that he stashes away in a tree at Adrian's gravesite. It's just, let's just give Dragon, you and I in unison on 1, 2, 3. Give a Norman Bates so sad just to lighten the mood up a little bit. All right. 1, 2, 3.
So sad.
It's so sad.
It's so sad.
It's so sad. Well, we just do it in unison, but it is very sad. And I specifically remember that's definitely one of the things that struck a chord with Stallone in particular, talking about the movie on his commentary for Rocky Balboa.
Yep.
So,
yep. And again, it's and Stallone is he's brilliant with those little bits of humanity. Stallone's like one of the best humanistic writers I've ever seen in film.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so should we transition to
Paulie?
Paulie? I mean, Paulie is kind of a dick in this movie.
Well, I mean, Paulie's my future brother-in-law, guys.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It's just like some of the scenes with Adrian are a little hard to take, and I understand that's the whole build-up of character. I'm not criticizing him as a character. I'm just like, Paulie's always been the most challenging person in the franchise to get behind, to tell you the truth, Dragon. This is like kind of the one, like, I still love the movie, and I don't think he brings down the movie at all. And of course, him being such a dick to Adrian is kind of a part of her growth as a character. But he's not a likable guy, in my opinion.
I don't know. I mean, I get the friendship between him and Rocky. I get where you're coming from. I get that he's not everyone's cup of tea, but I still see like there's a really good friendship there. Is that he's very much in many ways. I think the comparison to go with is he's very much Rocky's Bullock in a way.
No,
not that.
Bullock? I mean, Bullock is confident. This guy is a drunk, slobbering moron.
Let me try that again. Not that different. Sorry, I was trying to. Bullock, he's kind of, again, what I'm saying is that Paulie at his core, he's a good guy, but he's kind of basically Bullock. He's kind of, we grew to love Bullock, is what I'm saying. Let's just go with that getting little semantics of different. The Bullock sometimes more soiled than what you've seen Tiki in the shows. That Bullock's a little more redeemable. In the very beginning, it was a little less. My point is, I think at his core, he's a really good friend to Rock, and that the two of them are there for each other. And throughout the franchise, it gets even closer. But it's that I think what he represents is really good in terms of what helps the story. Tiki is that Paulie is. What if Rocky continued on his current course? Like, imagine if Rocky didn't meet Adrian. He's Paulie.
That is a good point. That's a good point.
That's what he becomes, and that's what I'm saying. That's basically what. Again, Paulie, in many ways, he's close to Rocky. And they're both kind of he's the leg breaker version of Rocky, and that's why the two of them get along. He's basically that version from the beginning of Rock. He's very kind of Philadelphian. He's very just kind of like he's. Again, he means well, but he might be a little kind of sloppy at times, like that with the being a drunk. And I love he has really good reasons for the alcoholism, though. I do like that we have some good character depth. I think stuff to read into with Paulie as well is that looking at the parallels of Rocky, that Rocky has comparing the two for a moment, that Rocky has infinite patience and sympathy for his friend, which again, all the stuff Paulie makes us love Rocky even more. Just saying, like, we've seen our friends at our worst, and Rocky has as he's seen Paulie at his worst. And he didn't quite know how bad the home life was because he probably didn't pry into the sister and stuff until he get really close to Adrian. And what's great about their friendship is as much time as think about it, every scene where they have like an argument or something, like he's like, have you done this and this with my sister? And Rocky then proceeds to punch the meat. What's important between the two of them is that the two never hold grudges. And not after every fight, they never really walk away angry. They always kind of make up. In a way, it's that they kind of like Rocky's never like he's never really vengeful or anything towards Paulie. There was a scene the line they cut out or something where basically it was Rocky was very he threatened that basically I'm going to marry your sister in the future. If you hurt her again, I'm going to kill you. Mm-hmm. So again, they got rid of that because again, it doesn't really feel like Rocky, does it?
No, it doesn't. Exactly.
That's why they got rid of that. So I'm just saying Paulie gets jealous of Rocky throughout the film. He gets jealous of Rocky at various points, but knows Rocky should be his role model. He knows that, okay, Rocky is my role model. By the end, he absolutely knows this. That's why he's trying to get in the ring with everyone else. And like, the cops don't know you can't get in the ring. No, I won't get out of the ring. and again, it's like Paulie's like Rocky's biggest cheerleader in a way, and that's like just showing the friendship between the two of them. Rocky's got the old meat packing plant in the back there. He knows like his friend can be impossible. He wants to be there for him because he's had a rough life. And the reason for that rough life, I believe, is that Paulie's grounding Rocky, and he's I'm sorry, real quick. I just want to mention that Paulie, he grounds Rocky in many ways, and he's the voice of what Rocky thinks before Rocky even thinks. He represents Rocky's self-doubt in a way. Think about it. He's always like he's pointing, Rocky, you're gonna look silly. They're making you look silly out there. He's voicing kind of Rocky's doubt many times, and that's again it's Rocky working through things by having someone to kind of exposit that for him.
Yeah, I also think we should probably get into the fact that his two major breakdowns take take place over holidays, which I like in the structure.
True.
Of course, we have the the Thanksgiving, like Polly threw the turkey.
Oh, Paulie, it's just the Italian Shire. Just so she worked on that turkey all day, and then just he takes the wing off and just tosses it in Tiki. I don't know if you know this. So funny is that when they shot that, they only the really bad, really low budget. So they only had one turkey. So they have multiple takes, bear in mind, just to make sure they get it. So what you're seeing is he throws it out. There's a guy outside with a blanket so they can catch the turkey. And after every take, they put it back on there. So it has they probably adhere the thing like tape or something on the side so we can take the wing off. And here, Burt Young, the guy who plays Paul, he messed with the crew because he threw it he zigged and zagged. He threw it just to mess with them. But
I think the Christmas meltdown is probably the most intense moment in the film, in my opinion.
Yes, that's the one where that's where he grabs the bat. He tells Rocky, "Get out of my house." But Paulie, it's cold outside.
And just Stallone just plays that moment with so much class and so much dignity.
That's what I'm saying. Again, that's why they're kind of in many ways, Tiki kind of represents the course of the film. Is that people like the girl earlier on? They're saying, "Screw off, creepo." Paulie is like one of those, and he's just thinking, "Okay, this is my friend Rocky. He's an average Joe like the rest of us." But no, Rocky's actually the best version of the rest of us. He realizes that through the course of like that scene onwards. Like, okay, it's coming clear that Rocky didn't lose his cool. Rocky could have popped me silly, but he didn't. Real quick, I think the reason for Paulie's the reason for the way Paulie acts is that Paulie sacrificed, and with the Christmas scene especially, it's when he's beating things. He's kind of mentioned. He's kind of going on his rant during that scene. I think I'm reading into this, bear in mind. I think it's that Paulie sacrificed his opportunities in life out of a loyalty and responsibility for the family, which cost him. Which basically is why he is the way he is now. Is that he didn't, like he says during the scene, he didn't have a wife, he didn't get married. He didn't seek out opportunities, which is why he's complacent like Rocky is. Only he's not happy with her. He's not in a cheery mood. That he's masking that with alcoholism, which leads to him various times lashing out at anyone's success or independence, like the success of Rocky or Adrian's independence. Like, I'm own half of this house too. It's my house too. That sort of thing. Like, I'm butting out that you don't have to protect me. He feels very betrayed in that way.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay.
So Paulie, yeah.
Still not the biggest fan of him, but like you said, he definitely serves his place in the franchise. So, all right, now let's talk about Mickey. You're a bum, Brock. You're a bum.
The only problem with this film is that
don't ever interrupt me when I'm trading.
The only problem with this film is that Mickey didn't have an umbrella, a trick umbrella of some kind. No. It's just the great Burgess Meredith.
He's just absolutely wonderful. He is. I don't know. It's just all the characters are so great in my opinion, but Mickey is definitely. I think Mickey is one of the most unorthodox mentors in cinematic history. Wouldn't you say that?
Oh yeah. What's great about how Burgess Meredith got the role, Tiki? You know what moment from the film got him the role? It was he actually improvised the line in the audition, which made it into the film. It's the bit where Rocky's walking away. He says, "Hey, Rock, you ever think about retiring?" "No." "You should think about it." That's what got him the role. It wasn't in the script. He just threw it out there in the audition. Like Stallone was walking away, and he threw that at him. They just played it, and it was like, "Oh, brilliant! He's our guy."
I just think this guy ticks off so many boxes in terms of he's he's kind of like the Obi-Wan Kenobi mentor figure in the hero's journey, but he's unconventional in that he's curmudgeon-y. He's just
So what if Obi-Wan was really pissed off?
Wears out our hero at every chance he gets. He doesn't.
That's a waste of living.
I do like the fact that the movie breaks the conventional trope of let's kill off the mentor right before the big fight to give our hero something to fight for. It's
they saved that one.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, they do save that one. Yeah, but it's you know what I mean. In this movie, it's we don't need that. We already have the motivation with what we were talking about with him and Adrian. So they don't need that kind of built-in dramatic tension. They already have it. So
yeah.
No, I just think Mickey is such a fun character. Like I say, he's just he's such a twist on the classic mentor type figure because he he's so entwined in that kind of role, in that kind of like archetype, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I feel like he's a lot deeper than a lot of those characters just because of how, he's curmudgeon on the surface, but we love the fact that beneath all that, like we see in the famous, like, you want to know what I think of you? Yeah, I want to know. Like, just,
I want to know.
I want to know. Just that famous speech he gives about, like, I think you're a bum, and I think you could have really been somebody. I think you could have been a great, but now you're just breaking legs, Rocky, a bum. I don't know. I don't know it word for word, but you know what I mean. But
it's a waste of life.
But in that moment, it just really comes to light that Mickey absolutely cares for Rocky and just has his best interest in light, and just treats him like crap because he feels like Rocky could just simply be doing so much better than what he's doing, which at the end of the day is kind of the point of the whole film, right? So Mickey is a pivotal cog in the machine that is the Rocky franchise.
Let me tell you how pivotal is that. Think about this. Paulie, as I said before, Paulie is like, what if Rocky continued on his current path at the beginning of the film? But Mickey is the complete opposite of Rocky. Think about it. Mickey's he's mean and cranky, and he's basically, what if Rocky went through this film but alone? Think about this. What if Rocky assume Rocky gets the bout. Okay, he gets the bout, but let's say he doesn't meet Adrian. So there's Rocky. He doesn't have Mickey train him. He doesn't have any of his. Let's say Rocky went through the fight. We know he's gonna, he loses the fight, but more, with less dignity than he does, without the training and such. Basically, he gets taken out really fast. Okay, gets the fight, gets taken out really fast, and that's Mickey. Mickey, once a formerly kind of renowned fighter, and eventually, he got a shot, probably got a shot at the title, and probably, I'm not saying this is exactly the thing with Mickey. The point is, like, you see what I mean, though? Is like basically someone who had glory, and then just kind of, after it's gone, he's just kind of he's just left alone, and just kind of gets a little bit embittered, and that he has like kind of that one success story. Yes, I did this, and that's why I'm going to open a gym, I'm going to tell everyone.
Yeah, I see it. Meanwhile, Rocky, on the other hand, opens a restaurant, and restaurants are way cooler than gyms.
Seriously, how cool was Rocky's restaurant?
I'm sorry, Rocky Balboa, I think, is appropriate to be like the one film in the franchise that we can keep referencing just because it's such a love letter to the first movie.
I know, I love Balboa. Man, I love Balboa. It's a great one. I don't know, I really love that one. Anyway, sorry. But here's a great thing with Mickey's character is going to kind of evaluating it a little bit more. Is that I love that Mickey, throughout the film, he possesses the know-how. He possesses the know-how that Rocky absolutely needs. He possesses the skill and the training that Rocky needs. That Rocky Rocky wishes he had. Again, Rocky's kind of thing is that people kind of make fun of him. Now, again, mainly the bookie's assistant. The loan shark's assistant, mainly that guy. Basically, you get made fun of now and again. Like, I love the bit where Rocky does his accounting in his books. There's like the money he's taking in. Mary puts on the glasses. He's kind of going through the book, just kind of he's doing it's a really nice bit. But again, the other guy makes fun of him, saying the figures are right. Stop questioning it. Just and basically just know-how in general is something that Rocky, again, he's not exactly like the he's lovable, he's endearing, but he's not exactly the sharpest tack. But don't worry, he's a really good learner, though. Again, he learns like that. So I mean, he needs to be taught. That's the only thing, which he does in this one. He's taught. He's an excellent fighter by the end of it. But the point is, Rocky wishes he had specifically the know-how that Mickey's tossing around, and that Mickey possesses, which is Mickey in the past denied Rocky that he didn't teach him what he knew. It's basically the way that's kind of described by the people involved in the film is that. Very much so, Mickey is a father figure to Rocky, which absolutely he is. He's very much kind of a father figure, and much like a father figure, the issue was that when Rocky needed his attention most, it's basically like the father you can never please. He's like that father figure you can never impress. Like, well, I've done better. Just he always like putting. Basically, when Rocky needed attention most, where he needed that know-how, that the skill, and like basically the training from Mickey. Mickey denied him for like some probably pride-filled reason, like, oh, it's not good enough yet. Anyways, and that's just why Rocky spiraled into his current life choices, because Mickey, when it counted, as Rocky points out to him during that big scene they have in the middle of the film, the big Christmas sweater, the big whole, where he's in the apartment, he's just kind of trying to, and it's a really excellent scene by Burgess Meredith, just trying to convince him. We'll talk more about that later, I guess, but you know what I mean. He's just trying to kind of convince him with every trick in the book. Just saying, he's trying to buddy up to him.
Sure.
And throughout that fight, then Rocky basically tells him, like, you had your shot at training me and you turned it down, and now I'm going to get killed because of it. But yeah, more on that later. Yeah, you see what I mean? It's like, again, it's like now because of his neglect, when it counted, now Rocky's kind of up a creek.
Yeah, I got you.
And again, he knows Rocky to his core. He sees a lot of himself in Rocky, which again leads much to Rocky's arc. Is that, think about it, very important moment. Rocky is informed by Mickey. Mickey tells him, sorry, I'm trying to. The scene we just went over. He tells Rocky, you're a bum and you're a leg break, and pretty much you're not cut out to fight. And then when he's asked, would you like to participate in this big fight, he says no, based on the knowledge that Mickey gave him. So again, Rocky is taking advice and knowledge from Mickey when it counts. And again, he sees Mickey provides truth that Rocky needs. Otherwise, we don't have Rocky going through the arc he does in the film.
Yeah, I got you.
Mickey and Rocky's relationship, very important.
Okay, so let's get to Carl Weathers himself, the man, the myth, the champion of the Rocky franchise at the start of it, Mr. Apollo Creed. First of all, I want to mention, I love the arc that Apollo goes throughout the franchise. Don't want to get into it too much here because that's what this podcast is for, but Apollo starts out in a very arrogant place. You know what I mean? He's essentially just oh, this is a promotional vehicle. This guy's not got a real chance to win. We're going to put on a show here, and America will just eat it up because I'm fantastic.
He's so full of himself, but in a likable way. He's not bad.
He's got charisma to him.
I think I had the perfect comparison. But first of all, he's not bad, but he's enterprising. It's basically what if. Again, there's an influence of Muhammad Ali on him. But basically, he's what if Muhammad Ali was less controversial and more patriotic.
Well, I must say, in retrospect, the whole "I want you" thing is a little overbearing.
Yeah, but again, that's what I'm saying though. It's like he's basically
I want you.
What if Ali had a different gimmick, pretty much? But again, Apollo Creed is a very kind of original creation. Again, he's very enterprising. I love how smart and strategic. He's always wearing like a 3-piece suit, or Rocky's wearing.
He's kind of like Walt Disney of boxers.
I just love that in comparison to Rocky. Again, there's more of a comparison with the characters we've kind of already gone through. But I love with Apollo Creed though. There's basically kind of the top of his game boxer versus kind of a guy just kind of getting this start. Basically, a worn down boxer just trying to get back in shape again. Mm-hmm. In a way. And again, I think it's just. It's really Rocky's wearing the very used clothing and just Apollo Creed's in his 3-piece suits. He's watching things on TV. He's basically pre-selling the movie rights, essentially. And
it really is just a classic tortoise and the hare story, and it's just beat by beat kind of the tortoise and the hare thing. Even though he does eventually win out in the end, there's that pivotal scene, I think, where one of his guys is watching Rocky, watching the interview with him with the meat punching.
Remember, that's Duke, and Duke becomes he works on the Rocky team after Rocky 3 onward, but also Duke's in the franchise. He's in all the films afterwards. So
sure, but I just love that moment. It just says so much about Creed's character, where Creed is just like, I'm ready too. Duke is just saying like, hey, guy, this guy really means business, and he's like, yeah, I mean business. He's just like so passive about it. Meanwhile, Duke is just watching the footage, just like, oh man, this guy just pulverized me in this meat. It's like, as Paulie said, it's like, Rock, if you do that to Apollo, then you and I are both going to jail.
They're going to put us away for murder, Rock.
Right.
But again, what's so great about that, it's also a foreshadow of him. He broke the ribs on the meat, and he breaks the ribs on Apollo.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Let me tell you a real funny thing real quick with Apollo, how they cast Carl Weathers.
Okay.
So basically, after they tried getting real boxers, and they realized, okay, real boxers might be a little too tough for Stallone to take on. Then again, the way it worked out in Rocky is that Stallone basically he pretty much learned boxing for Rocky, and it fits well to sort of like it's a boxer trying to get back into kind of peak condition. And again, that's kind of what he does. So throughout the film, he does get better, and it kind of works out in the end because of that. So they basically need someone. So Carl Weathers. Carl Weathers used to be, I believe, a football player. So that kind of fit. Basically, he has an athletic build, which is very helpful for the film.
Sure.
He has an athletic build, but he doesn't really know much about boxing. But that's not the importance of this fight. The importance is he comes in and he reads, because he's an actor, of course. Comes in, he reads, and bear in mind, Stallone is the writer, so he's in on the casting process, as you imagine. So he's reading opposite, and he's reading opposite as Rocky in a scene. And, the two of them are reading off each other. Basically, Carl Weathers, like any actor, he gets a little paranoid. And he's basically after, because he really loves the script, as all the other people have. So basically, as like Stallone's walking back or somewhere, so like Carl Weathers gets up. I'm not sure what the blocking is, just that's a story, bear in mind. But, Carl Weathers gets up and says, listen, I can. Whether I think he was just being jovial and being kind of show-offy, which is kind of getting the Apollo Creed headspace, which is basically got him the roles. He feels very much like Apollo. He says, hey, you get me a real actor, I'll deliver this even better.
Great.
Then they reveal, like, who's playing Rocky? He says, he raises his hand at Stallone. He just insulted Stallone. You get me a real actor. Anyway, just the cockiness and just like, oh, well, he's so Apollo Creed. We got to get this guy. And that's what got him the role. I go to Carl Weathers, and of course, for the kiddies out there who may not be aware, Carl Weathers he was in Predator, and that character in Predator is the reason for Combat Carl and Toy Story 10.
Combat Carl never. I don't know it.
Combat Carl never gives up. Combat Carl never surrenders. Combat Carl finds a way.
Stay in school.
Cough in the arm. You know harm. Cough in the arm.
Dragon, I've been taking the bus, and just really quick, people need to pay attention to that Combat Carl PSA, because on the bus, like, at least a good few times, I've seen people not just cough in their hands, but just simply cough without covering their mouths whatsoever. And it's disgusting, and I want it to stop. So listen to Combat Carl, people. Stay in school. All right. And after that,
and also beware parachuting tanks also. Anyway. Okay, so speaking of like moments like that, let's talk to moments that are relevant. Let's talk about moments from the movie.
All right, so we each have three. I have three. Dragon.
Yeah, sure, we got three.
Okay, so Dragon, if I can go first.
Go first.
Okay, well, I'm going to take this in chronological order. So the first scene I want to talk about is the first kiss between Rocky and Adrian at the end of their first date. I think this is a beautiful moment because of the acting on Adrian's part in particular. It's just the close-up, like you see just how reserved she is about it, just how scared she is of it at first. You know what I mean? It's like, and then I love how when Rocky kisses her cheek, she kind of lights up just a little bit, and she's kind of like, well, okay, maybe let's go for it. Like, it's just such a gradual build-up, Dragon. That's what I love about it. Like, rewatching it, I can safely say this is probably one of my favorite movie kisses of all time, if I had to pick one. Because it's just, it symbolizes the budding romance between Rocky and Adrian so well, and how emotionally strong Rocky has made Adrian. And it's definitely like the ultimate kind of coming out of her shell moment for Adrian. And from that point forward in the story, and I think it's very appropriate, Dragon, that turtles are a big symbol in the film, because not only do we have the whole tortoise and the hare analogy, but I also think, think about it this way. Like, I think Adrian herself is the big symbol, is the turtle. That's what connects her and Rocky. That's why Rocky knows her in the first place, is buying the turtle and, buying the feed and everything like that. And think about it, though. Adrian really comes out of her shell. Rocky is the guy who kind of brings the shy turtle Adrian out of her shell. And that's why I love the kiss so much. It's the acting on both their parts. It's just how genuine the emotion is, and how realistic the transition and feelings is. I could go on. It's so damn romantic. Okay. And then my second feeling, we can go on and on about Mickey. Dragon, this is a quick moment, but it had I was floored by how cinematic it was. So you mentioned the scene where Mickey's just trying to do everything he can to convince Rocky to...
He's being so darn manipulative, too, because you know what he's getting. He's trying to manipulate his way into being hired as Rocky's. And it's like it's so realistic. And so I love Stallone really went on about this in his commentary. There are a bunch of commentaries on the Rocky DVD, folks. At least 3 different commentaries on the 25th anniversary, and now it's like, never mind, now it's 40 years old. That was like when I was 25, so at least...
Oh, God. Right.
Regardless, Stallone mentioned in that scene, what he's doing was really clever here, is that, Rocky, he plays it so well by not saying a word, because he just doesn't have the guts to tell Mickey to leave, but he's hearing him out, and he can see, it's so... someone he had a lot of respect for at one time, just being really desperate to him. It's like kind of a sad scene.
Sure. And then Rocky just loses his cool with him, and I love the acting on Mickey's part. How he just kind of slowly he realizes that he can't really reason with Rocky in the moment right now. So instead of just being like the angry, like, I'm gonna fight with you, Rock, I'm a bum, and I'm gonna yell at your back. No, he's very somber about the situation. He just takes his coat. He takes off, he leaves. Rocky has a moment where he looks into the mirror. He realizes that he kind of stepped over the line. And Dragon, this is a shot I'm talking about. This might be my single favorite shot in the whole movie just because of how well composed it is. And we'll get into it with the music as well, but I also think this is one of the most beautiful moments music-wise is, Mickey is in the background. Rocky's running to him. He runs out of his apartment. He's on the streets in the foreground. And then we see, we don't hear a word of dialogue between them, but we just kind of see the exchange happening in the background. And Dragon, it floors me how well this is timed out that they shake hands right as that subway car passes over them. It's just the composition on that shot is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And then, so last moment to go over really quick. It's right before the final fight. It's like the last scene before basically the prologue to the fight, which is the go the distance scene, which we'll talk about. Rocky enters the ring the night before the fight, and he sees just the two. I love just the atmosphere of the scene, Dragon. The atmosphere of the scene really gets to me. Just how. I
think remember we've seen this parodied in Hey Arnold.
Of course. But, just how, like, Rocky he's probably never been in a stadium this big before in his life, let alone fought in front of all these people before. And so he's just kind of taking in the magnitude of it. I love how the shot's composed. I love the look of the Apollo Creed poster, or the banner. What would you call it, a banner?
I'm trying to think what he called it.
I'm trying to think what you call it too.
He basically floats as a giant scroll, so I think it's a banner. I'm pretty sure it's a banner, but it's also kind of like there's an illustration on it. It's like a wall scroll, but it's a giant banner. Anyway, banner, whatever you want to call it.
You guys, anyone who
there's a giant image of Apollo Creed, and then there's also across from the giant image of Rocky, but there's a little something off.
Dragon, this is just such a humanistic moment. It's just such a humanistic moment.
By the way, this was actually, it was because they had so many real moments came from so many just errors in the production. There's so many issues in the production. This is like an actual screw up, by the way. It wasn't like
I'm not surprised.
They wrote around it. That's why this scene exists, because they just need to. Oh crap, we screwed up. We throw a line in about it. That's how you get this.
So one of Apollo's investors in the fight comes in.
The fight promoter. Yeah, the guy put it all together.
Promoter. Right. And he's just like, "What do you think, kid?" And Rocky's just like, "I'm wearing white pants with a red stripe." And, on the giant poster, it's red pants with a white stripe. And, the promoter's just so cavalier about it. He's just like, you'll do great. You'll put on a great show.
And basically what that communicates is that he knows, okay, this kid's not going to have a chance. So because remember, that guy's just kind of manipulated Rock and like said, got to do it out of patriotism, kid, pretty much is what he said. And that remember, he would have gotten fired. It probably would have gotten fired if he didn't get Rocky. So he said anything to kind of convince him there. So pretty much he knows Rocky's going to lose. Basically, he's in the mindset Rocky's going to lose from the get-go.
But you know what? I think what I really love about that moment, though, is I feel like that is part of the spark that lights under Rocky, where he realizes that these people aren't taking him seriously at all, and he really needs to go in and show them. I think that is kind of the spark that leads to the go the distance speech, which we'll talk about in a few minutes here. All right, and those are my moments. Go ahead.
Also, by the way, with the Harold thing, I'm pretty sure the Torvald episode parodies that one. When he goes into the classroom, he picks the lock, he goes into the school, sits in the classroom. I'm pretty sure it's a Rocky reference.
I could see that.
Pretty sure, but I don't know. I might just be reading into it. I'm saying it's very similar. Just that I think they get the idea of like you break into the place beforehand, so you just kind of get a feel of like, oh, I'm going to be going up against this tomorrow.
Right.
Okay, so my 3 moments. Let's see. Now I'm trying to go through chronological order because now you said a president. Okay. So, crap. I'm trying to remember the order of this. Crap. Okay, I'm just gonna wing it here. I'm just gonna go for broke because I'm pretty sure this is the way it goes.
Bomb dragon.
Well, I'm just trying my best. It's come around. I'm just reading from my little tiny notebook. I'm just trying to think of the moments. If it's the date comes before the fight promoter, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
The date coming. I believe the date does come before the fight promoter.
All right, that's what I thought. I was hoping for. Okay. Now moving on. So I really like the. Okay, no, seriously, I really like the. I love the date itself, the ice ring date. And by the way, in the film, it might just be repeating facts that people know already. So I bring it for 40th anniversary sake, for the kiddies out there may not know. I love the. Basically, the original is going to be set in a restaurant, like in a cafe or someplace. At least sitting down having a conversation, which, as you know, wouldn't nearly be as interesting as the way it turned out.
I mean, have you watched My Dinner with Andre?
But you know what I mean.
I'm sorry. I'm giving you a hard time. I'm just like, don't underestimate dinner conversations.
I mean, it turned out so fantastic when it was not that. The point is, they couldn't afford that to have them sit down and converse. So what they had is they're going to have like an ice ring. Okay, we're going to have like a little scene play. I'm going to have a bunch of extras. And they realized, okay, went from having 200 extras to having 1. So they took having 1 extra. Basically, he's just telling the place was closed and he pays the guys. It's such a lovely idea.
1 extra basically becomes like a cameo. You know what I mean? Like, one of the more memorable parts of the movie is that guy's 1 role.
Oh, yeah. Seriously, it's such a wonderful, endearing part of Rocky and Adrian's relationship. And I tell you, these moments of the relationship really kind of, like, for me, I honestly think Rocky is like one of the great relationship movies in a way of like, for me, like, I love the romance in Deadpool, and I love the romance in this. I think those are my kind of romance. Like, they're unconventional, but they're really honest, and they're really kind of you invest in these relationships, Because I mean, Deadpool and Vanessa really make that film in many aspects. Their relationship is a crux of that character. The same way for Rocky is that Rocky and Adrian, of course, that's a crux of this movie.
Sure. See, that girl over there, that girl isn't feeling well. She could just really use some time on the ice. That's all I'm saying, man. Just have a heart.
Yeah, which is just, it's really, it's really good. He's kind of trying to finesse the guy a little bit, and he's then pays him like a few bucks to get on the ice. And Rocky doesn't have a lot of cash, so he's just probably just. He's getting a lot in there, like a lot of good bonding time in there while he can. I love that he's not wearing skates. He's running alongside her. And again, it's real. Again, I could have I think in any of our wildest fantasies, we can turn like a horrible occurrence like that into something really nice and sweet like this, and they're really having a good, honest conversation. Of course, this leads to the kiss you mentioned after this date, and it's like really nice. He's like showing her like the bent back finger and stuff, and it's it's like he's being like no one in their right mind would kind of go on would kind of bring up the things he's bringing up, but it works for him because he's just so darn genuine about it. And again, she's digging it. She's like, oh wow, like he's really, again, basically he's showing, hey, it's okay to come out of your shell, Adrian. Look what I'm doing. Pretty much, he's like showing by example in a way. And it's really hard to describe. But it's one of the most iconic date scenes. You need this. It's beautiful. It's not skee ball, but it's beautiful.
Oh God.
Balls and holes. Anyway. So, following that, I guess, would be him saying no to the fight promoter. It's a great bit for Rocky. It's a great bit, again, following Mickey, just kind of outlining the reasons of, like, okay, well, you really shouldn't. Basically saying you had potential and now you wasted it. So Rocky logically, and this is a change from the script. The original script Stallone had as a yes, but then Stallone kind of rewrote after kind of some advice saying, well, would Rocky really do that? It's just absolutely not. Rocky would be smart enough as he is. After hearing advice from someone who's a skilled fighter like Mickey, he says, no. It's like, how how would you like to fight Apollo Creed? I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. Because again, he knows he'd be killed in that fight. And I love more so it's not as self-preservation. I'm hyping that because eventually, like, that's what in the Mickey argument he brings up. I'm going to get killed because of that, essentially. But no. What I love most is that he the way he spins it in the conversation is that, well, he's denying other people who probably deserve it more. As Mickey, more accurately, Mickey pointed out, like, you're a waste. You're a wasted opportunity. Pretty much, you waste your opportunity. Like, you're past your prime. You should retire, as you said earlier. And in this case, Rocky's kind of taking that heart. Maybe I don't. This is a big opportunity. An opportunity to get the heavyweight champion, be the heavyweight champion of the world. So I don't want to squander that for someone else. If I'm just going to get out there and get pulverized, what's the point? I'm denying someone else an opportunity, and I'm just going to basically I'm going to be paraded around so I can get beat up. What's the point? And yeah, I love it's a very logical thing. Then Rocky gets kind of won over, and it's a very good scene. Again, that scene just feels very much like Stallone getting the movie in a way.
Sure.
Okay, last one. I love, of course, it's an obvious one, but how can you not bring it up? It's Gonna Fly Now. The montage and the montages. It's kind of broken up into 3 parts. Specifically, I'm talking about the 3rd part.
It's the montage, capital T, capital M. It's like in the annals of film history, it is the montage.
Yep, it's pretty much one of the most famous montages ever. It's again, from the beginning, the other 2 segments we have, you're drinking the raw eggs, and he's running up the steps. He's not quite getting there without being out of breath. So now he's the 3rd time. He's trained a lot with Mickey. Basically, we're seeing kind of the end part of that. So now he's been training for a while. He's gotten into a habit of it. Now we see kind of it all paying off. Like he's doing this is the paid off montage. Where he's running through the streets, and more so. I think the running through shoots is more in the other parts of it, but more importantly, he's doing the push-ups, like one arm and the clap and stuff. And what's great, we get 2 excellent bits, Tiki's 2 really mind-blowing bits in this. One, seeing Stallone, it's such a realistic thing too. You don't see this these days anymore, kids. That's the advent of CGI and effects. This is all Stallone, if you can believe it. Is that Stallone is running against basically there's a boat in the harbor in the very basically running, I guess, along the docks or something. And you see like this giant, this big old boat, this big old like steamboat or something. Sorry, this big old boat, and he's running across. And basically, the way they shoot that is that basically they have the guy operating the Steadicam in like a car, and basically they're just driving alongside him. He basically outran the car. He was running that fast. He got like a runner's wind. So basically, when he was running, he then picked up even more speed. So that's all practical. You don't see any. It's not an effect. That's all just Stallone being in really good shape, and it looks amazing. That's how you get Captain America running the way he does back in the 70s.
Sure.
That's how now we have to do it with the staging a whole thing. Now that's the way you do it.
That is your special effects, kids. That is the special effect of this movie.
And of course, the ending is that with Gonna Fly Now, which is wonderfully music done by Bill Conti, which we'll get to in a moment. You just have it all building to that wonderful note of just he's going up the stairs again. I love this. I've done this occasionally. I haven't done it in the style of rock. You see how you do when you're in a hurry. I love skipping the stairs just to get to the top, and I love it. He's doing it faster now. We saw him just go right from that scene to running up the stairs, and he's doing the scene that you see in front of you right now. He's just like, he's doing a little jig in the middle of it. He's just really at the top of the stairs. Again, it's like he's acquired the knowledge to fight. He's acquired the skill and the knowledge from Mickey, and now he's like, that's why he's at the library. It's symbolic, man. He's on the top of the stairs and the hands up in the air. I've won it even if no one saw it. It's a beautiful, it's a feel. It's the peak of the film in a way. It's like, okay, this is the
definitely
standout, literal peak of the film. He's at the tip top of the movie.
Okay, so let's transition that into talking about some of the music in the film. I mean, I think this film has a great contrast between the bombastic, Gonna Fly Now stuff, that kind of permeates. Also think that the Rocky franchise has one of the most distinct ways that they open their movies this side of Star Wars, which is just, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then just the huge title that sprawls across the screen.
Oh yeah.
But Dragon, what I mean, everyone knows the Gonna Fly stuff. Everyone knows that. What I want to talk about with the music is the quiet piano moments, because my God, are they effective?
Oh yeah. And Tiki, I'm gonna blow your mind here. All of that score done in 3 hours because it was such a low budget. All of that done in 3 hours with barely any.
I mean,
Basically,
I'm honestly not surprised because it's pretty simplistic for what it is. It's not like it's not like a John Williams score where there's like all these different intertwining elements to it. But yeah.
it was very limited. Basically, all the other composers turned down because it was such a low budget. Because basically, it was like I don't know what the figure is exactly. The point is like it was like an all-inclusive figure. It's like you have to not only just pay the composer, like the salary in mind for the dedicated to the music would be include the composer, the instruments, the time, basically all the stuff to do the score would be all included in this thing. So they found Bill Conti, and Bill Conti just he brought it for for 3 hours. And in addition to Gonna Fly Now, you have like the variations of Gonna Fly Now tied into the score, which is like dun, 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 dun. You can just score in these very important notes like the Paulie moment. Sorry, not the Paulie, like the Mickey and Rocky kind of making up moment, like the just you get like after the basically Rocky walking away kind of sad after things a lot. But very, very impactful, and again, just kind of it's the soul of the series in score in a way. It's very much the soul. And of course, I love that they bring it back in Balboa too. It's really effective there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's very iconic music. Very iconic.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's transition into the final bout. Dragon, if the montage isn't the montage, then the final bout is definitely like the final bout. Like it is the end fight to end all end fights in cinema, I think.
Oh yeah, but we should talk about the prelude, of course, because the whole crux of that fight.
I'm just kind of giving my my broad spectrum before we get into the details, but of course, let's get into the prelude.
Of course, it's wonderful foreshadowing that the going the distance thing, which of course Hercules has ran with, because as we like to joke with the Hercules film, pretty much is like super. Oddly enough, two '70s films. It's Rocky meets the Richard Donner Superman, but Disney pretty much.
I will go.
Basically, it's a 2-year difference too. It's pretty funny too.
I will go the distance. All right, that was unnecessary.
I go the distance.
Yeah, you should probably do it better than I can. Anyways.
Anyway. Well, there was a Rocky musical. You are aware of that, right?
Vaguely. Very vaguely.
I don't believe Stallone was in it, but he did produce it.
God, okay.
Anyway, but yeah, going distance thing, it's wonderfully foreshadowed with kind of this conversation. Basically, it's established in a really tender scene. Again, we've seen this scene kind of parodied on Family Guy now. Back when it was good.
That is my favorite thing. Oh, God.
Yeah, for Family Guy,
can I do it?
All right, do it.
You can't fight on the moon, Rock. I gotta fight on the moon, Adrian. I gotta do what I gotta do. But, Rock, there's no oxygen up there. Yeah? Well, if there's no oxygen for me, that means there's no oxygen for him either. All right, I'm done.
But with that, here's the actual version of what they're parodying. Is that it's a really tender scene. Is that I believe it's I want to say. Honestly, I don't know if we screwed up the order or not, because I think it's after. I want to say it's after, but there's a chance it could be before, because she's sleeping when he sneaks out to go to the place.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. The point is, Rocky's he's in bed, and he's kind of sleepless in bed in a way as she's kind of comforting him, and just like basically he's just telling her, so I just want to go the distance. And basically saying he wants to go the distance, and he wants to. It's not about winning for him. It's just about being able to not be taken out by the other guy.
Sure.
Which again is it's very honest with Rocky. Is that Rocky again? It's not about winning. It's not about the glory. He doesn't care about winning. It's like he's not banking all of his hopes on winning. Which again is another reason to find the guy endearing. And again, it's a reason that we the audience are rooting for him to win. We think he's got a shot at it.
Oh yeah.
And at this point, it's like, okay, well, we have kind of an out here. But it's a win-lose thing of, okay, well, if he doesn't win, then he's still a winner, because all we really need to root for him for is that he makes it in days that he doesn't get knocked out, or he doesn't get unable to fight at a certain point.
Which makes the ending so damn satisfying.
Yeah, and again, it's like, you gotta remember, this is one of the most famous kind of no-win endings ever.
I think this is definitely, again, this movie perfects so many things. It perfects the montage, it perfects the final fight, it also perfects the, the happy ending in spite of the loss.
Yeah, just think about it. Sinestro used to have this famous thing where, back when a little more low scale. But he used to have the thing where he would joke towards the end of a review, and the false ending, pretty much parodying Rocky, like, and they lose this person, but they grow up, but they grow better for it. They basically starts to spin and says, "Nah, here's what actually happens."
Exactly. Right.
Anyway, so but yeah, Going the Distance is a really good prelude that does kind of that, and the scene where he goes to the arenas really sets up Rocky's motivation. That Adrian's on his side, it's kind of motivating him for the fight, but also that he wants very reasonable. He has a really reasonable expectation.
Sure.
Now we get into the actual fight. My God, the actual fight, boy oh boy! Like originally, Tiki, Rocky was going to be. It was going to end in a more negative way. It was going to be Rocky was going to be more disillusioned with just kind of the logistics of boxing. Then there's going to be more of a seedy kind of behind the scenes.
Okay.
It's basically just he was going to see like a negative side of what Apollo Creed was all about. Yeah, it was going to go more of like a.
I definitely think the movie still kind of hints at that, but it's a lot more cynical about it than it could have been.
Yeah, we see during the thing when Apollo's doing his showboating with the whole.
Which, like you said, is fairly intolerable.
With the whole George Washington and Uncle Sam thing, it's like I love it in the scene. Rocky's kind of he's like, okay, so
hold on. I need to make a Hamilton joke. Rocky did Black Hamilton way before Hamilton did, or Rocky did Black Washington way before Hamilton did. Take that, Hamilton. All right, I'm sorry, Dragon. Continue on.
All right, so it's basically it's the Apollo's doing. I love it in that moment. Rocky's just like, okay, he's having this moment. Just basically, I love he's kind of happy. He's enjoying it like the spectators are from it. He's kind of silly. He's not viewing it as like disrespectful, like he's showboating. Like all the Rocky's guys are in the first movie. They're all wearing cardigans that say Rocky on them. Later on, they're going to be like in the get-ups, like the fancy like they had their own personal robes and stuff, and like their yellow themed shirts. All the Rocky. Anyway, but again, I love it was going to basically be he was going to be more not happy, not like kind of complacent about it. It was going to be more like, basically he's unsure. Like the boxing world's not exactly about the fight, not the humble fight. It's more about like kind of the show and win-lose thing. But again, they changed
in the final film. They make a really good decision where essentially it's the showboating that again just pushes Rocky the extra mile to be like, no, I am not about that. I'm going to prove to these people that this is not just a show. This is my moment.
Yeah. I think it was a smart move just to kind of make that a more kind of, again, Rocky doesn't hold grudges, real negativity at all. It's just he's kind of the Captain America of boxing.
Sure.
Okay, let's see. So again, of course, this fight shaped boxing films big time. Again, Raging Bull, big time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no question.
Bear in mind, Raging Bull again distinctly. Scorsese didn't want to very distinctly in the directing. He didn't want to replicate Rocky, but still, again, the big bout in the end.
And the final ending is just like one of the most goddamn spine-chilling and inspirational things ever. Just ever. It's so good. It is so
I
good.
love that we have these markers during the fight of Rocky's progression to you. Like, for example, Rocky, Mickey points out in the film that Rocky's like his distinction as a boxer, like the thing that made him quote unquote special is that he never had his nose broken. In the last fight, he gets his nose broken.
It's like the Luke Skywalker getting his hand cut off moment.
No, I'm not gorgeous anymore. Ah!
How's it look, Mick? It's an improvement.
It's a nice moment, too. It's like he didn't lose much. He's like, okay, well, he's a boxer now. It's like his christening. It's like his boxer christening.
Absolutely.
Of course, the ribs, again, the payoff of the meat. He beats, he breaks Apollo's ribs.
Sure.
And, of course, the famous... Yo, Mick, cut me, Mick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was thinking more cut me, Mick. That famous thing.
I'm so sorry. I just want to talk about the Adrian thing so much. I'm like jumping ahead of myself.
Let's build it, man. It's a big moment. We got to build up to Adrian.
Okay.
So we have cut me, Mick, which, by the way, by today's standards, would never fly.
Sure.
Never cut, folks. For the kiddies out there, we should have a Carl Weathers here to explain this, but we don't. Just to the kid, a little PSA: kids, boxing or no, whenever your eyes are swollen, go with ice. Never go with blades just to bring the blood out. That's never a good sign. It's never a good. I don't care if Rocky did it. That's not a good idea.
Stay in school.
Yes. So, but again, it's a big moment. What that implies, that's Rocky. Very opposite to what it was in the beginning, where Rocky actually he's ambitious now. He's like, I want to try to win this thing. So I need to see, cut me. I'm doing whatever it takes to win. Again, through not cheating or anything, but it's like I'm doing. Put me through the paces, man. Do it. And I'll kill you if you throw that towel, which is unfortunate foreshadowing for Apollo Creed eventually.
Oh God, yeah, unfortunately.
So by the end, they're covered in sweat. The Rocky's shorts are bloodstained. So I like this wasn't intentional, but I like that in some ways his shorts did end up being red, like the poster.
Sure.
It's kind of funny, but it wasn't intentional. It was a screw up. So again, the bloodstained shorts. Rocky, he's triumphant in that he was really going to town on Apollo before that bell rang. And he probably would have won in like another 10 seconds or so. He actually had a shot at winning. Had that.
He did. It was close. Yeah.
Yep. Then I love that. Basically, right after the moment, the two of them are kind of holding each other up and kind of like congratulations to an extent. Just saying like no, believe me, no rematch. Which Apollo immediately goes back on in the second film.
I'm just like thinking as an audience member, like, oh sure, Apollo, no rematch. Sure, you say that now.
But I love that. After all of that, we don't care who won. You don't care who won.
And Dragon, that's exactly what I love about the ending. Who won is a complete afterthought. It's absolutely an afterthought. It's like we see it happen. We see Apollo is technically the winner, but what does Rocky care about? Dragon, can we talk about it now? Can we talk about it?
Yes, we can talk about it.
Yeah, we can talk. Just, oh my God, just how effective is that ending? Just like you said, it boils down to, I think that's just a great point you just made. It boils down to now that Rocky's gone the distance, the actual result of the fight does not matter at all. The only thing that matters is Adrian. It just pulled off so well.
And the thing that motivated him to go the distance, motivated that he could do that at least. That's Adrian.
Yo, Adrian! The fact that we can have such a goddamn uplifting and positive ending out of Rocky losing is just, I think, like one of the ultimate testaments to what makes this film so great and such a good underdog story.
And of course, one of the really famous, little fun things about Rocky, and every time I saw a movie, I always brings a smile on my face. I just love this, such a 70s touch. Is that the minute like the fight's over, like the Apollo and Rocky kind of cuddled together for a moment, it's like da, 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 and the music gets all 70s and like really upbeat, like everyone rushes into the ring. Da, 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 da. It's such a 70s touch. I love it.
Sure.
And again, then we get the triumphant kind of follow-up that dun, 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 dun.
Which set a standard for the endings of the Rocky films, which again is a great kind of a tradition with Rocky.
Again, he went the distance. That's all that matters. That's what that last shot's all. He went again. I love that it's not about a guy won a boxing match. No, it's about a guy is with the woman he loves most in this world, and he did it because of her. It's all about. Again, I love that the two of them are in that shot. It's not just the two of them are in that shot. That's all what the movie's all about. It's about Rocky. Really, it's about Rocky confirming who he is. It's like he won the title for himself. He won his own title. He didn't act. Again, I know he didn't actually. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not about winning a title. It's about winning the title to himself, which is the film. It's about winning the title to being Rocky. He found out who he really is. He's really complete when he's with Adrian. That's what that film's about.
All right, now Dragon, we're running out of time here, so why don't you quickly just give us a nice slice of wisdom on the impact of Rocky?
Of course we have 5 sequels and Creed and forthcoming Creed 2.
Sure.
It's point, Rocky's definitely had an impact in that regard. We've seen tons of parodies of Rocky and then references all over, as I mentioned with Hey Arnold. Of course, you got the success of Rocky. Specifically, Rocky 2 going in production really allowed there to be no Raging Bull without Rocky and Rocky 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because, they really kind of questioned the validity of following the act of Rocky and said, well, Rocky's doing it again. It's okay, Raging Bull, which, again, Raging Bull, of course, you get parodies, which, again, with all the Rocky parodies, you get some ranging from good to bad to mixed with a Real Steel and Grudge Match.
Right.
Which, look, there are redeeming values in both films, but they don't exactly cut the mustard the way you like to. But again, just basically, the original Rocky film, it's the model from the underdog story, and that's pretty much like in the Bible. Like, okay, if you're going to we need to root and invest in a character. You got to do it in the Rocky format. That's what you
definitely. Get. Definitely.
Okay. Let's see. So again, point is Rocky is at a very very great impact, and again, we know the guy with the back of our hand to this day. So
final thoughts. So really quickly on my end, I think this is appropriate to talk about things during Thanksgiving because at the end of the day, it's about family. It's about like the relationships we form with people and how that makes us stronger as individuals. I know me and my dad do have a tradition of watching this during Thanksgiving, oddly enough. So I think it's a movie that's just kind of very agreeable for a lot of people. It's like it's a good Thanksgiving movie where it's like you have a family that doesn't necessarily get along. Well, turn on Rocky. Everyone's bound to be in a better mood after we all watch Rocky together. You know what I mean? So just and like we said, I kind of just don't want to repeat points, but I just love the fact that this movie is first and foremost a character study, and the sport of it all, while definitely a major kind of part of the character, is not the point of the movie. The point of the movie is seeing this guy's evolution and what the romance specifically does to lighten both their lights. So I love this movie. It's one of my favorites, and obviously I'm not alone on that. So that's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, it's Rocky. It's a testament to how great, and it's just in general, it's a testament to how great and beloved Rocky is as a character. It really is. Like just showing again, he's endured 40 years and going. And the reason we're still talking about it to this day is he's such a great eclectic character. Like you don't really see a lot of. Basically, Rocky's just one of those great. Like he's such a lovable. Like no one dislikes Rocky. Rarely will you find someone that dislikes Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
And it subverts the film itself. Subverts the conventions. Again, we kind of we have a character who's not flawed in the conventional ways. He's very he's very human. You have we subvert just kind of a win-lose ending because it doesn't matter about that in the very end. We subvert certain things. It's a character piece that remains strong to this day. Again, the performances, you name it, the performances, the score, the dialogue, the story, and it's just all of it builds to just one of the most inspirational films. You come out of this film, you're going to be like, man, I can do anything. You're just going to have that feeling. That's what the film really, it's what the film gives you. I mean, Rocky, again, it's always with the underdog stories, just that inspirational. Like, well, if Rocky could do it, maybe I could, maybe you could, maybe the neighbor next door could. Who knows? Maybe.
Sure.
Yeah. You could always just maybe all it takes is one person to go the distance. Just, make it happen. All we need is get another turkey if someone throws it out the door. Just, Go the distance, be an icon, and endure 40 years.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. With that, like you said, folks, happy birthday, Rocky. Happy 40 years. And folks, thanks for listening, and do have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Good morning,
Adrian! Yo, Adrian! Adrian!
I'm doing it, Adrian!
Adrian, I got the drumstick, Adrian!